Time for some roll call this morning. Josh is saying, what's up, Big O? NorCal saying, boom. John Ross saying, what's up? Jay Gelfand saying, good morning, Orlando. Thank you. Flipside Fishing, hey, good morning, Big O. Loved your piece on Tua and Herbert yesterday. Pretty awesome. Hope we pick Herbert and move on. Well, it's not a matter of, I was just explaining the scenarios to people and why maybe maybe there are thoughts about Herbert over Tua. And if you listen to it, if you actually listen to it, then I think you'll understand. Big O, I love your truth and opinions. What do you think about Bryce Perkins as our project QB in Miami? I think he's the next Michael Vick. I got to tell you, I got a couple of other project guys that I've talked about. I'd rather go Anthony Gordon. If I'm going to go project, I'd rather go the Princeton kid Davidson. There's some other projects that I'd rather go, but he is kind of he's kind of an interesting athlete out there. Let's see. John says another 5 years down the drain if they draft Herbert. Ian from Brooklyn, Big O and Bill, on deck morning. Yes, sir. Thank you. Josh says, Big O, Mel Kiper has the Lions picking 2 at 3, the Dolphins picking Herbert. Well, that makes no sense. Okay? Patricia has to win this year. He has to keep Stafford. So if they're going to draft Tua to bench him for a year, then fine. But if they got to get into the playoffs, aren't you better off getting a shutdown corner because you're trying to trade Darius Slay? Aren't you better getting a pass rusher? Aren't you better getting an offensive lineman for Matt Stafford? That's where Mel Kiper doesn't know his ass from his head. You understand? That's why I've never seen him. I think in the 22 Senior Bowls that I've been to, or 21, I've seen him there once. Okay? It's really easy to pull out of your ass and say, they're going to do this, when you don't really look at the scenario. Bob Quinn and Matt Patricia have to win this year. They're in year 3. They can't turn to the Fords and say, well, we want to rebuild now. We want to get rid of Matt Stafford, and we want to bring in a new quarterback, a young quarterback, so we can build. And they're like, well, wait a minute, you haven't built anything here yet with Matt Stafford. So you think they're going to allow him to take a quarterback, a number 3 overall pick that won't help you at all next year, and save your ass from getting fired? Come on, man. Mel Kiper is a great soundbite. I've said this for years. He does what I don't bother doing every year. He learns every single player, every position they're in, the school, and then he finds, a positive, negative about the guy, and he's a soundbite about it. But when you say that they're going to take 2 at 3, if that's the truth, I didn't look at it because I don't really bother with that stuff, because I know already kind of what's going on. But when you say that, you're actually not paying attention to what's going on around the league. Lions can't do that. They do that, they're going to get fired. And Tua will be there, but with somebody else quarterbacking. Let's see. Ty says, Big O and Bill, good morning. Thank you, sir. Peter says, what's up? He says, I can't stand how people say Herbert reminds them of Ryan Tannehill, like they've seen so much of Herbert to make the comparisons. Give me a break. Herbert is way better than Ryan Tannehill as a quarterback. Herbert's people got to stop with this. Herbert has accuracy. Tannehill did not. Herbert has ball placement. Tannehill doesn't. Herbert has pocket presence. Tannehill doesn't. Herbert thinks and plays like a quarterback. Tannehill is an athlete trying to play the quarterback position, so it doesn't come naturally to him. The comparisons are completely stupid when they make them between the two. The Herbert issue is all maturity. Nobody, I have not met one person in the pros that says he can't do this. Okay? Not one. Not one says he doesn't have accuracy. Not one says he can't read defenses. Not one says he's dumb. Not one says anything like that. Everybody says he's not mature enough. That's his issue. Jamarcus Russell, not mature enough. Dude had all, the Lord blessed him with all the skills, but his problem was lazy. Herbert's not a lazy guy. Herbert's an immature guy. And if you don't know how to handle winning and losing, and you don't know how to handle a locker room and all those kind of things, it's going to be a problem for you. So Herbert's thing is not a physical thing. Some of you got to get over that. And when you make the comparisons of Herbert and Tannehill, they couldn't. One guy was a project coming out. This guy's not a project. It's like Tua and Joe Burrow. They're not projects. They can play the damn position. Jordan Love is a project because he doesn't make all the right decisions. And he's also not accurate all the time. Gordon is a project. Nate Stanley, that I like out of Iowa, is a project. The Davidson kid is a project. These are guys that there's a good chance they're going to fail. An even better chance than the other guys. The problem is that they have the athletic ability to be the guy, but you got to refine some things. Joe Burrow's got the game, man. Tua can play the game. He just can't stay healthy. And Herbert can play the game. He's just immature. That's all. But it has nothing to do with the issues that Ryan Tannehill had coming out of Texas A&M.
Is the Tannehill comparisons because he had those 3 running touchdowns in the Rose Bowl and now he can run? And everybody thinks he can run now?
And he's big and white.
Is that what it is?
I guess. It's just lazy. It's just laziness. And then one person says it.
And that's it.
And then
spreads
it runs,
a wildfire.
And everybody else says it, and then they're just tools. And that happens to a lot of you out there. You're just sheep. And you just repeat something that somebody says. It's like the Stafford, Dolphins better watch out. The Lions may be interested in a quarterback. No, they're not, dude. They're not taking a quarterback. Now, could the Lions trade out of that pick to get extra picks, to get multiple players to help them out and make the playoffs this year? Hell yeah.
And along those lines, the Lions love the fact that it's creating a frenzy.
Right.
Somebody's going to want to move up, and they'll get more picks.
If the Lions can do, you tell me that, that's fine. But you tell me they're going to, get rid of Stafford and draft Tua. Come on, man. Use logic.
That ends the general manager and the head coach's job.
Yes.
They're done.
They're done. And they have to make the playoffs during year 3 already. Everybody's already killing them, and some of them are calling them racist because they fired Jim Caldwell, who had 3 winning seasons out of 4 and made the playoffs twice, which, by the way, you should be inducted into Canton. Okay? In Detroit, if you have 3 out of 4 winning seasons and you go to the playoffs twice, you must be inducted into Canton right away. And they fired him. So you hire this guy that can't even make the play, can't win more than 5 or 6 games. So now they're gonna trade away Stafford to bring in Tua, who's not gonna play in 2020 pretty much, in 2021. So they're gonna buy Matt Patricia all that time. I mean, wow. How do you write that article? How do you talk about it? How do you report it? Do you have any common sense? Or are you just smoking the sense? Is that what it is? Let's see. What else do we have here? NorCal says, Big O, we chatting with German Doll Fan Club. They want to get on your fan club segment soon, worldwide doll fan clubs. We got to get them on. I got to figure out a way of doing the Skype stuff. Okay? But all that is coming. I'm trying to set up some stuff. So we're working on, I wish I could talk about it, but I just can't. Let's see. What else do we have? Josh says, you're right. It doesn't make sense. The Lions are dumb for doing that. I'll wait for sunshine. I love how we call that kid Sunshine. Teams always want something different from the guy they moved on from, which means Herbert's not an option because of the similarities with Tannehill. Tua or Love is my educated guess. There are no similarities with Tannehill. But Ivan, If you want to keep believing that stupid-ass crap, go ahead, bro. I just told you there are no similarities between Tannehill and Herbert. If you want to keep doing that, then go ahead. But you clearly aren't watching what the hell's going on. Josh goes, Tannehill was a wide receiver turned QB, Herbert straight up QB. Brother, once they move you to wide receiver, that tells you all they think about you as a quarterback. Drubo says, blessings and peace, Big O. Bill and Finn's Nation, praying for Ryan. Hell yeah. Mike Monaco from the Bronx says, good morning. Let's see, what else do we have here? John Santos says, hey, I'd rather have Herbert than an injury-prone QB like Tua. How do you argue with that? You know what, John? That makes all the sense in the world. I don't, and like I told you yesterday, for those of you that weren't tuning in, for those of you that didn't download the podcast, if you draft Tua, he's not playing pretty much for you in 2020. Maybe he plays in December a game or two before the season ends. You won't know anything about him. That means the 2021 draft will also go by. You can't take him because you still have Tua. So you're going to have to wait 2 years to find out whether he can actually play and stay healthy. So, yeah, meanwhile, you're into your second year with Herbert already, and you'll know a lot more. So, yeah, no, I'm with you. I can understand those that think like that. At least Herbert has the pocket presence and accuracy, unlike Tannehill. I have faith in Chris Greer. Fins up, baby. Let's see what else. Pete Martinez says, Tannehill sucks. We are lucky to not have him. Bro, Tua is the best quarterback, and he's going to be wear that 13 here in Miami. Well, I mean, Pete, you can think that if you want. I think he's a fantastic passer. I love his accuracy, ball placement. The kid can play. But the problem is he can't stay healthy. So I can't draft a kid that can't stay healthy. I'm just not a fan of that. Some guy on Twitter was like, well, that's uncool. You're predicting his injury. And I go, yeah, so did I. I did it also with Yateel Green. How's that working out for you? You know what I mean? Come on, man. You know, listen.
It wasn't a tough stretch by no means.
No, and this isn't a. It's not like I'm going out of my way making a hell of a prediction that Tua's going to be injury prone. Really? Shocker. What's a shocker is if Tua actually stays healthy. That's the shocker. It's like, what injury is next? That's really the problem. And I get it. This is going to be our conversation all the way through. And you know, the thing about the Tua thing is, even after the draft, the Tua conversation will continue, and he's not even playing. No matter who you have. And until the Dolphins draft whatever quarterback, and then that young quarterback finally takes the field, because remember, Fitz will start probably again. So whenever that young quarterback will be sitting behind, right? And people will still be bitching about not taking Tua. So this Tua thing isn't going to end now, and it's not going to end right after draft day, and it won't end for months, maybe an entire year, because if your young guy doesn't play till the second half of the season and he doesn't play that well, they'll still be talking about Tua. I mean, we still talk about Drew Brees all the time. You know, every time we talk about a quarterback in the draft, a quarterback to trade for, a quarterback to move up for, all we talk about is, well, we had our opportunity twice with Drew Brees and we didn't take advantage. We don't want it to happen again. We're so snake bitten by all of this that it just, you know, it drives us crazy.
So let's say we'll always be talking about Tua.
Yes.
One way or the other.
Yeah, until
like the way Breeze, what is that, 10, 12 years ago?
Until he breaks down. And then we'll go, oh, okay, yeah, that's why we didn't take him. That's what they're going to say. Yep. Let's see, what else do we have here on the draft? Josh, Herbert is going to be the man this season. It's going to be interesting what's going to happen with Rosen. Do the Dolphins trade him? Or do you keep him as a backup? Because you have him under contract for several years, so you can keep him behind whoever you draft to. And you could get rid of Fitz after this season. Big O, if D. Parker plays all year and produces great results again this year, will he start getting more hype around the league? NorCal, I think Devontae Parker's already getting that hype around the league. There's no doubt. And if he comes back next year and starts to ball, he starts to become Pro Bowl player is what happens to him next year. Okay? I mean, he already proved it this year. Dude balled out. And let me tell you, you think those defensive backs didn't earn some serious respect from his ass? Because you knew they were going to him, and they still didn't stop him. That's pretty awesome. Okay? That part you got to absolutely love, that they were able to do that. Okay? So I think there's no doubt in my mind that Devontae Parker had made huge leaps and bounds. It's just a matter of, okay, can he do it again next year, or was this a fluke year that he stayed healthy? Right? Because he's been an injury-prone player dating back to college. And the only problem with him is staying healthy. I wonder how people have a problem with us talking about Devontae Parker constantly injured, and then some people get butthurt that we talk about Tua's always injured. Isn't that odd? Isn't that strange? It's kind of weird, right?